They say that hurt people, but you're not gonna hurt me. Because even if it stings, those things you whispered behind my back, I refuse to be bruised by an attack that lacks tact, which says more about your mental health than anything else. But that's not my place to dwell. I can't fix you, and I won't try. But if you really want to see me cry, tell me why you've grown so callous and cold. What part of your story has been left untold? What did I trigger in your inner 5-year-old that caused you to strike with such a venomous bite? But if you're looking for a fight, you picked the wrong victim. I don't throw punches. I'd rather follow my hunches that tell me there's power in peace. And I'll get my release on paper, which is simpler and safer and may sound a little boring, but I have no urge to impress you because your opinion of me isn't worth my serenity. They say that hurt people. And I'm so sorry you're in pain. But we can end the cycle now and rewrite the refrain to one of compassion, to one of forgiveness. Because healed people heal people. And that feels so much nicer to witness. So this video is for anyone who feels sensitive to nasty comments that they may receive on the internet, or really anyone who's getting any sort of negativity from other people because of putting themselves out there. That poem that I just shared is called Refuse to be Bruised, and it can be found in my first poetry book called Create and Receive, Make and Believe, Finding Peace Through Primarily Positive Poetry, now live on Amazon. Click the link to check it out. But I wanted to create this video today because I am what is considered a highly sensitive person. This is a thing. It doesn't just mean you're sensitive emotionally, but there's actually a label called HSP, or highly sensitive person. There's a ton of research on this. The woman who spearheaded this and really coined that term is named Elaine Aron. She wrote a whole book about it. There are so many resources, and perhaps I'll do some additional videos about it, because finding out that I am a certifiable HSP was life-changing for me and liberating in many ways. But that's not the meat of this video. What this video is really intended to address is how to navigate people being mean to you, particularly on the internet. So I've experienced this a bit with having a YouTube channel and posting my poetry and my thoughts on TikTok and Instagram. Mostly YouTube is where I'll get some negative comments, and sometimes they ruin my whole day. But I want to talk about some strategies that I've been using that have been incredibly helpful, so that now when I get a mean comment, I don't think twice about it. I laugh it off and I'm able to go with the flow. Now that's easier said than done, which is why I wanted to create a video about it, because especially if you're a highly sensitive person, it's not enough to say, oh, hater's gonna hate, whatever. Your nervous system is probably going to be affected if someone says something that makes you feel attacked or makes you feel hurt or otherwise put down. So if you do need a little extra inspiration and motivation to feel good in general, I'm excited to share that I recorded a poetic pep talk that you can download for free in the video description that will just get you to love yourself, to believe in yourself. I recommend listening to it every morning as you start your day, just to put you in good spirits. It's less than 10 minutes. You can play it in the background while you do something else. But I just wanted to share that because listening to positive affirmations spoken aloud in the morning has changed the way I show up in the world. But anyway, so I wanted to share the strategies that have been helping me navigate those icky comments that can appear on YouTube videos like this one. So, first thought is that the internet is huge. Okay, so if someone goes out of their way and leaves a rude comment on something I've shared, my thought is, why are you watching my videos if you don't like them? There are a million other things you could be watching on the internet. You are electing to watch my video. And so when people do that, they go out of their way to watch something or consume something they actively dislike. That's kind of on them. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So for me, it's like, if I don't like someone's content, I just don't watch it, or I don't follow it. Unsubscribe. Now, the disclaimer here is sometimes those comments are helpful. So we don't want to just blindly put things out and not know how people are responding. So if someone comments and says something to me, for example, like, this music is trash, or you need to fix your audio, there are kinder ways to say it, but I've taken those comments as very helpful, because then I know, oh, this is potentially preventing someone from enjoying my content, from benefiting from what I have to share, because the music is distracting or because my audio quality is subpar. And so I do what I can to fix it. I know that I still don't have the most professional setup, but I appreciate the people who follow me and enjoy the content regardless. So that kind of comment we can take as constructive criticism, constructive feedback, and we can learn from it. If it's something that's just rude for no reason, their intention is probably not to give you constructive feedback. It's probably not from a person who thinks, oh, I really like this content, I just wish the audio was a little better. It's someone going out of their way to be mean. So first of all, remind yourself that is their active choice. You are putting out content that is free. No one is paying for my YouTube videos. For example, this is free information. If someone gave me negative feedback on a course that I put together and they purchased, that would hit very differently because I sold it to them. They paid money. There's an exchange there. But if you are creating content on the internet for free, I don't think people really have a right to criticize it, because they are actively choosing to watch your content. Now, people will go out of their way to do that, and more on that in a second, but just remember, you don't owe anyone anything with your channel. They are choosing to engage with your content. Now, of course, sometimes things just get suggested and they pop up, and that's a great way for us to find new creators and for creators to find new subscribers. So sometimes that happens, but if that happens to me, and for example, a short pops up and I watch it and I don't like it, I just would never think to go out of my way to say this is stupid. You know, and sometimes some engagement is good. So if you have a comment on something that was said, that's one thing. But if it's just an attack on someone else, I don't understand the point. I don't see the point of just going out of your way to attack somebody, especially if someone is just sharing their opinion. So I've had some people comment on my videos with really argumentative or defensive comments, and I'm like, this is just an opinion. I'm not saying that this is fact, and it's the internet. You take what you hear with a grain of salt. Every person is allowed to say what they want. At least here in the United States, we have freedom of speech. And so that doesn't mean that we should feel entitled to go say mean things or to go say false information. If we're actively sharing false information, that's a whole other story. And yes, people should call you out on it if that's what you're doing. But in my case, for example, I'm like sharing a poem from the heart, or I'm just sharing thoughts that I have or things that I've learned, but I usually give a lot of disclaimers to say, here's where I learned it, or here's what I may not know about this, but this is my interpretation. So all that's to say, remember that someone commenting on your channel is choosing to view your content. And so your reaction can be, don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Whether or not you say that to them, totally up to you. But, just remind yourself that they are choosing to be there. And if they do go out of their way to say something rude and you get a comment that makes you feel bad, what I've been practicing is just send that person a little love. Just send them love their way, because for someone to do that, to go out of their way to say something mean to a stranger when they're choosing to watch that stranger's content, there's something going on internally with them. So send them a little love. Just say, oh, that you're hurting. And that's why I began this video with the poem that I shared, because it's so easy to just get defensive and to feel attacked and to attack the person back. But when we really stop and remember, they're attacking us because they're hurt in some way. So something in my video, for example, must have triggered them to react the way that they did. And so that, when I look at it from that perspective, I actually feel sorry for the person. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that you're in so much pain that that's the only way you could think to react to this video. And again, I'm not talking about comments that are disagreeing with the content or saying, oh, let me challenge you here. Those comments are great because they spark a discussion, but it's when someone is just rude, that's for no reason. It's just not nice and it's not constructive, and it's usually, you can tell it's coming from an intention of trying to hurt you. Then I think the best thing we can do is send that person a little love, because they're obviously hurting in some way. And actually, I remember, I forget what the comment was, but I got a comment on something, and I remember thinking, thank goodness that's not me. Like, thank goodness I am not that person. I think someone said, oh, this is what it was. He was like, who cares? And then one of my other subscribers, you know who you are, but he commented and he was like, I care. And that just felt so good to me. But for someone to go out of their way and say, who cares? It's like, if you don't care, don't watch it. You have an infinite number of things to watch. But anyway, I've said that already a million times. But I remember thinking, like, wow, I am so glad that I am not that person that feels so whatever. I don't want to call this person broken or negative or whatever, because I don't know this person, but I'm just grateful that I would never think to go out of my way to tell a stranger who cares on your video, because we're all allowed to share our voices. That's the beauty of the internet, is we're allowed to share what's on our heart. We're allowed to share what's on our mind, and it will connect with the people who it's meant to. And so that's been a really helpful way for me to put things into perspective, is to send that person love, be grateful you're not them. And that can inspire you to treat people online with even more respect and even more love. And again, remember that they're choosing to watch your content. If they don't like it, they don't have to be there. But it's like, if you know you don't like chicken and you order chicken at the restaurant, you can't say like, oh, this dish was bad, because you picked it and you don't like chicken. If there's a certain actress that you don't like, don't go watch a movie with that actress and then complain about her. Like, that's an active decision. And there is no shortage of things to watch. Now, if you go to the restaurant and the only option is chicken and you don't like chicken, okay, that's a different story. But when it comes to the internet, you have a bajillion options. You do not have to be here. So in my first poem that I ever released, called Unleashing the Artist Within, I have a line that's like, if you don't like me, don't let me know. Go find another show. Which is so true. And I have that on my YouTube intro video too, that's just like, if you're not interested, no hard feelings. Just, you don't need to tell me that. Just go find something you are interested in, you know? And that's not to say I'm not open to constructive feedback for people who want to share that. But again, there's a very big difference in the intention behind constructive feedback versus a hater just saying a hate comment. And I felt it's important to share this because I was listening to a podcast recently, and I believe it was Jay Shetty who was saying he just never looks at the comments. He never reads the comments, which of course he probably has a bajillion, so who has time for that? But he said he does that for his mental health. And I understand, because if you have a bunch of mean, nasty comments, you don't want to read them. I personally like reading comments because I want to know that what I'm sharing is helping. And I think especially for smaller channels, we have to do that. We want to engage, we want to create community. And I would have no way of knowing what videos resonate with people if I didn't read the comments. So maybe once you're at Jay Shetty's level, you can just not read any of them ever. But I still like knowing what people are saying and what people are thinking. But just know, if you are putting yourself out there in any way, there will probably be people who say mean things for no reason other than they are hurting in some way. It is about them. It is not about you. And as I alluded to in the poem, such is true in life in general. If someone hurts you, they are probably hurting themselves. So we can all soften a bit, send that person some love, forgive them, restart the cycle instead of them being mean and you being mean back, and then them being mean and then you being mean back. You don't have to attack. We can not necessarily be doormats. You don't have to just let people be mean to you, but you can forgive first and foremost and try to understand where they're coming from. If it's something like a stranger on the internet, I'm never going to know what sparked those people to say mean things. And I'm lucky, I really don't have that many negative comments, but every once in a while when I get them, because I'm so sensitive, it does get hard to shake off. And I've noticed the past 3 or 4 times this has happened, I wasn't bothered. I actually got one the other day and I just kind of laughed. I was like, okay. And I was like, thanks for watching. Because what else can you do? But I genuinely felt that. I wasn't trying to trick myself into thinking that, which is what I'll do if I'm really hurt and I'm trying to rationalize, like, okay, no, it's fine. But I actually felt that in my core, and my body didn't get triggered. And that was so cool. It's like, oh my gosh, wait, someone said something mean and I'm not triggered by it. That's amazing. So I encourage you to experiment with this. Try this out for yourself. Once it clicks, I think your nervous system will stay more regulated. For a little hack on nervous system regulation, you can also check out this video that I recently shared all about the havening technique, which is a really good thing to do when you are triggered. And actually in that video, I shared about how someone had said something mean to me and I felt triggered, and I did that. And then I was like, okay. And then the next time someone said something mean to me, I wasn't triggered, and I was like, amazing. So anyway, thank you for listening. Again, please check out my book if you're interested. Please share this video with someone who is struggling with haters. Haters gonna hate, just remember. And if you would like some more encouragement and empowerment and actual tangible practical strategies to be your most authentic self unapologetically, I highly encourage you to check out my course, Show Up Sure, Secrets to Embody Confidence for a Lifetime. It has helped my students transform their levels of confidence, especially speaking with other people, which is hugely important. Thank you so much for watching, and go be nice out there. If you have a hate comment to leave it. You can't hurt me. I'm just kidding. Please don't. But anyway, bye.